Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we are going to try and get the look of a fluid brush style painting using markers. I'll be using the Real Brush pens from Genuine Crafts. They come in a variety of different sizes, size sets. I did all of these little paintings back here with a 20 set, which comes with a water brush, but they also come in 50 sets here. You get a couple trays of markers, or 100 sets, which I have the 100 set here in a bucket just because it's easier to see all the colors. I put them tip side down so I can see the color chips, which are very accurate, and they don't take up that much space on my desk. They're easy to use, mess-free. I painted all of those on my couch, and they're fun, and I think they're really good for all ages, not to mention affordable. In the video description, I will have a link to their website where you can snag a discount code, saving you even more money on these affordable markers, and then you can paint along with me. So without further ado, let's go down to the table. I'm going to show you how to paint this sweet little flower motif using some brush stroke techniques, and also how to use these markers with your stamps to also get a really lovely brush style look. And you can make it on a postcard because these aren't going to run like regular watercolors if you were to send them out in the mail. So that's an extra bonus. So without further ado, let's go to the table and I'll show you how to have some mess-free painting fun. The first thing I want to talk about today is how I have my table set up. I'm sitting at my desk in my office. I have a silicone mat on my table to both give me a little mixing palette and also protect my table from the water that we're going to use. I have a small watercolor block here that we're going to work on. I have some watercolor postcards here that we're going to work on. I have the markers for my first project laid right out here. Look at these colors. They are so pretty. These are from the 100 set, and there are so many gorgeous combinations here that that I think you're really going to enjoy them. Now, as far as the other markers, what I do is I have them in a bucket. This is a plant pot from the dollar store, and I have them tipped down so that my ink is ready to go. And also, because it's not a loose fluid ink in here, it's in like a, it has like a marker pad on the inside, so it's not going to like run out and make a mess. But I like being able to see all of the color chips because they are very accurate, which is nice. With water-based pens here, they can be a lot more accurate with the chips, I think. I also have a spray bottle of water for if I want to do a softening effect on my paper, or if I want to clean up my palette area. I have a water brush. This came in the 20 Genuine Crafts watercolor pen set, so you would get this if you got the smaller set. The larger sets do not come with the pens, so you would need to either use another brush that you have and dip it in water, or another water brush that you have. This little thing here is like a chip dip holder. It would hang over the edge of a bowl, but it works really well on the edge of this bucket. And I have a paper towel in it because that's how I clean my water brush. I squirt out a little water and wipe it on a paper towel, and it's ready for the next color. You're not going to waste a lot of pigment when you're using water brushes, when you're using the water brush pens, because most of the ink's going to stay out on the paper. So it's a very thrifty, waste-free project to do. So now we're going to zoom in and do our first project, which is this lovely rose. To begin, I want to make a little palette on my silicone paper. I'm going to scribble out a little bit of both of the pinks that I'm using. So I've got this really, really pale rose. It's almost like a pale coral. And I've got this more deeper coral color here. I like to do this before I start painting because I like to get the paint right into some water sometimes, and it can like pull up a little bit of the water and make the markers a little bit less vibrant for a few minutes. You wouldn't want to do that, like work on wet paper with a felt tip pens, because it takes so long for them to recharge. I'm going to start just by using some water here with a little bit of the ink. Oh, it's almost just so there's enough that I can see it. And I am just going to loosely make little curved lines around in a circle to form the head of my flower. All right, I want to make sure I don't have big puddles on my paper, because if I do, then that's really going to soak up a lot of the pigment. Now I'm going to go in with my lighter color, and I'm going to start making some of those shapes just like I did with the water. And as I get towards the outside, I'm going to press my brush down a little bit more, because that's going to give me a wider line. And now I can spread that out a little bit. You'll notice with the water brush pens here, the Real Brush pens, that they stain the paper more than a regular watercolor would. That's why I think it's so fun to do this for cards and postcards and stuff that's going to be handled, because it's not going to get wet and want to smear on you. Okay, now I want to add another dimension here. So I'm going to pick up some of this other color, the darker kind of corally red, and I'm going to put some of that in there too. You'll notice that sometimes your colors will change a bit when you add water to them, and they might change a little bit as they dry. So I recommend sticking with a limited palette, so I'm only using 6 colors for this, just so that you don't end up with anything kind of too crazy looking. Now as I get to the edge, I do like to have a few kind of like curvy petals. There. Now I'm going to go in with my darker red pen here, that corally red. We're just using those two. We've only used 2 colors so far. And now I'm going to make the tiny little, like almost little shadows in between the petals. So I'm using the brush straight up and down, and I'm just kind of slicing in a little color. If it hits a wet area and blends out, that's fine. I like to have darker colors towards the center and have it get lighter as it goes out. If I want to soften anything, I can with the wet brush. And this is probably equivalent to like a number 6 round if you're using regular watercolor brushes at home. And you want to like maybe get the bigger set and just use what you have for the brush, that's totally fine. The nice thing about the water brush is that you can take it with you. You could work on this while you're traveling. I often like to sit down, watch TV in the evening, and work on projects like this. So there's a flower. Now to clean your brush, what you're going to do, and I'll just bring this over so you can see, squeeze out a little water and wipe it on your paper towel until you don't see any more color. And your bristles may stain, but that they can still be clean and be stained. Don't worry about that. Now, since I'm done with the red, I'll wipe up my workspace. And then we will begin with some leaves here. So I'm going to go in with my darker green. I'm going to just find a place where I want to have a leaf. I'm going to press my brush down to make it wide, and I'm going to twist and lift, and I've got half of a leaf right there. Now you might want to turn your paper because it's a little more comfortable to pull that stroke towards you. So go ahead and do that if that makes more sense. I'm going to make another one over here. So I'm doing this with my lightest color. You can fill in if you didn't get it all with one stroke or you want to make it bigger. And I think I'll do a couple over here. If you find that maybe your paper is rough and the ink isn't like filling in all the tooth of the paper, just go slow. I like to leave a little sliver in the center because I think it gives it like, it looks like that center vein. And we could do one more over here. Okay, now I want to put some shading on the leaves. So I'm going to scribble a little bit on my mat because I think I'll probably need to soften it a little bit. And I'm just going to throw in a little bit of shading. This is pretty strong as I'm layering it on, so I'm just going to do a little bit. Now I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to pick up the ink from my mat here and kind of add a little bit of mid-tone and soften the ink I just put down. You can have your colors as bold or as soft as you want. That's personal preference. That's kind of how you develop your style. And if you have the smaller set of pens, you're going to utilize your palette a lot more because you're going to have more brighter colors, less subtle colors. So you might just use the same color, just diluted with water from your mat to do that first layer, and then go on and do the second layer with the pen itself. So and that's a great thing about these pens is that you can get such a range of color from just a few pens. Having the larger set is nice if you like to have a lot of colors. And, you know, if you have more pens, you're not going to wear them out as quickly. So that's another thing to consider. Now I'm going to take the same color. I'm going to do some stems. And I'm going to do one up the center. I'm also going to do a couple little buds. And do some rosebuds. I'm just going to kind of sketch them in with this darker color. Got the little hips. I like to be pretty sketchy with this because I know I'll put other colors in, so I don't want to fill it in too much. This one will be tiny. I'll go in with this color because I, repeat the colors as much as possible because that's going to give you a better look. It's going to give you more harmony. And another color that I was enjoying adding here and there was this pretty blue, and we're going to add it some more in a minute, but I want to add a little bit onto these flowers as well. It's kind of like a seafoam color. Isn't that pretty? So many gorgeous colors here. I also find that having them in my bucket with the tips up, often they'll just kind of like jiggle together, and then I'll see two colors together that I wouldn't have thought to combine, and I'm like, oh, that's a great color. That's a great combination. So that's another reason I like to have it in a bucket or in some mason jars. And plus, it's pretty decoration in your studio too. If you have that sitting on a desk, it looks nice. And I could have this on the coffee table, and I could be working on a little painting like this. One of my daughters could be working in their coloring book with the pencil. Somebody could be coloring a stamped image, and it's it's something everybody can use, and they're so easy to use that there's no reason that everybody wouldn't want to use them. Okay, so the nice thing about this is I could either do a background right now around everything, or I could actually put some more designs in and do a background later. Because the inks in these pens are going to stain the paper, we can go over it with a background later. So I want to put some like spray of kind of like leaves. I'm going to start down here, and I'm just going to work my brush here. So press and lift, press and lift. You can make these gorgeous little tiny leaves. And they're so pretty, and they're so easy. And this is going to help you learn brush control. So if you want to have a fatter leaf, you gotta press your brush down well, go slow and lift, and that's going to give you a little bit fatter of a leaf. If you work on the tip of your brush, you're going to have a little more control. If you hold your brush straight up and down, you'll have more control, because I can press down, get a fat bottom, lift up and get a skinny top. And I'm just going to fill in. I'm going to just paint these until I'm sick of painting them. Now as you get to the end and you don't have a lot of space you're trying to fill up, just do tiny little shapes. Now you can connect these with little branches, just little stems. Turn that in kind of a flourish. And I think that's really pretty. But say that you wanted to have a background. You're like, oh shoot, I want a background. I don't think I want to. Actually, it is pretty with white. There it is with yellow. But I'm going to show you the background anyway. But gosh, that's kind of pretty with white. I kind of want to leave it like that. What you're going to do, I'm actually just going to wipe my mat. Sometimes it's hard to see when the ink beads up where I've added my color. I'm going to put quite a bit on my mat there. I'm going to use my brush. I'm going to put a little water in and make myself diluted yellow, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in. Now I wouldn't go right on top of an area if I didn't have to. Like these buds are easy to paint around because I don't want to muddle down that color. But this is really handy if you've done something in the background and it is lighter, or it's more vibrant and brighter than you want it. So I can like say, I didn't like that. Oh, that's too blue. Why did I do it that blue? It's just standing out and I don't like it. I can brush over that, and so you're going to get a glaze of color over the blue, and it's going to tone it down. It's going to make it a little more green, a little bit more like the leaves. So this glazing technique works really well because the dyes in the markers don't want to lift on you. Okay, but say you want a little vignette, you want a frame. Well, that's so easy. All you do is you take your marker, you go right on that damp paper, and you add the color that you want, and then you go in with your brush, your water brush, and you just smooth it. You just blend it in. Because the paper is wet underneath, you're going to get a smooth blend. Now, if I did that right on dry paper, it would not blend as much. So keep that in mind. Even if you could blend it out to white, just wet that paper first with just water, and then you could blend it into white. And some papers will allow you to blend a little bit easier, like going right from like the white of the paper. Bristol paper, which is it's a marker paper that graphic designers tend to use. That works really well for that. And it's very smooth, so it's nice for stamping as well. And I know a lot of you guys are rubber stampers. I love this technique for doing a little frame. I'm kind of wondering if I could mail a round postcard, if it would go through the mail. It probably would. I probably would just need a little extra postage. Now this is pretty just as it is. If you want, you could add some little like sprays of other flowers, but I actually like that kind of just as it is, but you could add some other little elements there if you want to, but that is completely up to you. In this next demonstration, we are going to use these markers to create a watercolor scene with rubber stamps. And I'm starting off with a piece of 4.5 by 6 watercolor paper, which is 140 pound, thick enough for a postcard, and I just spritzed the background with some clear water. And then I just scribbled on a sky using a pale blue marker. Now I'm using the 100 set, which has a huge variety of colors, so it's really fun for these projects because you don't have to scribble off and mix and do as much as you would have to do if you had a smaller set. I blotted off the excess water, and now I'm just sketching in a mountain in the background. Since I want this to have kind of like a sumi-e or brush style painting look, I want it to kind of look like Mount Fuji. This is a beautiful plum color, and it's a little dark than I want for the entire mountain, so I decided I would just scribble some off and pick it up with a water brush and then add that on there for just some pale toning on the paper. The original lines that I sketched in give me the shadow lines. Now I'm using a couple rubber stamp sets from Local King. They have some beautiful brush style images, and I thought it would work really well with these markers. Now I'm going to use a couple different shades of brown and red to color this building here because I want it to just kind of have a very loose painterly look. Now you're going to notice that the ink wants to bead up on the rubber a little bit, but don't worry, it'll be fine once we stamp it down, especially with the paper being a little bit damp. That's going to grab any of those little beads of color and it's going to help transfer it. Now it looks a little splotchy at this stage because the ink wants to bead up on the stamps, but all I have to do is take my water brush or a damp paintbrush and just spread the ink around a little bit. You can use this to fill in any parts of the building you like, but remember to keep it loose and sketchy because the beauty is in the imperfections. Now I'm using a darker green to add a little shading under the building and to also stamp on some of these pretty leaves that's also from that rubber stamp set. If you find images that go together because they're part of the same stamp set, that is great because it just takes out a variable and you know everything in the design is going to coordinate. Now for this bird, I just inked it up with some orange, brown, and black, and then I just used a wet brush to help spread the color. Now remember, you have the brush pens, so you can always go in and add more color if you feel like you want to intensify any of the color or design, or if you want to add to it. So it kind of is a nice bridge between craft and art. You get to start off as a crafter, and then you get to add touches as the artist, and this is just such a pretty image to send. The neat thing about this is that these are dye-based watercolor markers, so they're not a traditional watercolor like you would buy in a tube or a pan. These actually soak into the paper more and stain. So if I was to put this right in the mail today, and today it's raining, and the mailman picks it up and it's still raining, the rain's not going to bother this. It's not going to mess it up like it would with a traditional watercolor. You can find the supplies that I used from our sponsor Genuine Crafts, and make sure you check out the video description where I will have a giveaway and a coupon code so you can save some money on this product. These are a lot of fun and easy to use, and I think you'll enjoy them. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.